Welcome to the Millionaire Mindset, How to Think Like the Wealthy. I'm so glad you're here because by choosing to listen to this audiobook, you've already taken a powerful step toward transforming the way you think, act, and live. This isn't just about money. It's about unlocking a way of seeing the world that opens doors to abundance, opportunity, and success. Over the next few hours, we're going to dive deep into what it means to think like the wealthy, to cultivate the habits, beliefs, and strategies that set millionaires apart. This isn't about chasing dollars for the sake of dollars. It's about building a life of purpose, freedom, and impact, with the financial success to back it up. Let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever wondered what separates the wealthy from everyone else? Is it luck? Talent? A secret formula? The truth is, it's none of those things, at least not entirely. The biggest difference lies in how the wealthy think. Their mindset shapes their decisions, their actions, and ultimately, their results. And here's the best part. You can learn to think like them. You don't need to be born into wealth or have a fancy degree. You just need to be willing to shift your perspective, challenge your assumptions, and take action. That's what this audiobook is all about, giving you the tools to rewire your mind for success. Let's start by setting the stage. Wealth isn't just about the number in your bank account. It's about freedom, choices, and the ability to live life on your terms. The wealthy think differently about money, time, risk, and opportunity. They see possibilities where others see obstacles. They focus on growth where others focus on survival, and they take responsibility for their outcomes, no matter the circumstances. That's the millionaire mindset, and it's what we're going to unpack together. Now, before we go any further, I want you to do something for me. Take a moment to think about where you are right now. Maybe you're driving, walking, or sitting quietly somewhere. Wherever you are, ask yourself, what do I want from this journey? Maybe you want financial independence. Maybe you want to build a business, pay off debt, or create a legacy for your family. Whatever it is, hold that vision in your mind. That's your why, and it's going to keep you grounded as we explore the principles of the millionaire mindset. Let's get one thing clear. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. The wealthy aren't superhuman. They're just people who've learned to think and act in ways that create extraordinary results. And you can do that too. Over the course of this audiobook, I'm going to walk you through the key principles that define the millionaire mindset. We'll talk about how to master your money mindset, how to embrace risk and opportunity, how to build discipline and resilience, and how to create a life of purpose and impact. Each step builds on the last, giving you a roadmap to think and live like the wealthy. Let's start with the foundation, your beliefs about money. If you want to think like a millionaire, you have to understand that your beliefs shape your reality. Most of us grow up with ideas about money that hold us back. Maybe you heard things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy. Those phrases might seem harmless, but they plant seeds of scarcity and limitation in your mind. The wealthy, on the other hand, see money as a tool for creating value, solving problems, and building a better life. Take a moment to reflect. What did you learn about money growing up? Did your family talk about it openly, or was it a taboo topic? Were you taught to save every penny, or to spend without thinking? These early lessons shape how you approach money today, whether you realize it or not. The good news? You can rewrite those beliefs. You can choose to see money as abundant, as a resource you can earn and multiply through your efforts. Let me share a quick example. I once met a woman named Sarah, who grew up in a household where money was always tight. Her parents worked hard, but they constantly worried about bills. That fear stuck with her, and even as an adult earning a good income, she found herself hoarding money, afraid to invest or take risks. One day, she decided to challenge that mindset. She started reading about successful entrepreneurs, attending workshops, and surrounding herself with people who saw money differently. Slowly, she began to see opportunities instead of obstacles. Within a few years, she'd started her own business and was on her way to financial freedom. The shift didn't happen overnight, but it started with one decision: to think differently. That's what I want for you. I want you to start questioning the stories you've been told about money. Are they serving you or holding you back? The Millionaire Mindset begins with believing that wealth is possible, not just for other people, but for you. It's about seeing yourself as capable of creating value, taking risks, and building a life of abundance. Now let's talk about one of the biggest differences between the wealthy and everyone else: their relationship with failure. Most people are terrified of failing. They see it as a dead end, a sign they're not good enough. But the wealthy? They see failure as feedback. It's a stepping stone, not a stop sign. Every successful person you admire, whether it's an entrepreneur, an inventor, or a CEO, has failed more times than you can count. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They learned from it, adjusted, and kept going. Think about someone like Thomas Edison. You've probably heard the story. It took him thousands of attempts to perfect the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the millionaire mindset in action, seeing every setback as a lesson, not a defeat. So let me ask you, what's one failure you've experienced that's holding you back? Maybe it was a business that didn't work out, a job you lost, or an investment that tanked. Whatever it is, I want you to reframe it. Instead of seeing it as a failure, ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I use that lesson to move forward? This brings us to another key principle: taking responsibility for your outcomes. The wealthy don't blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for where they are. They own their choices and their results. If something goes wrong, they don't point fingers. They look in the mirror. That's not always easy. It's tempting to say, the economy's bad, or I didn't have the right connections. But the truth is, those excuses keep you stuck. The millionaire mindset is about taking control of what you can control: your effort, your decisions, your attitude. Let's pause for a moment. I want you to think about one area of your life where you've been making excuses. Maybe it's about starting a business, saving money, or going after a big goal. What's the story you've been telling yourself? Now imagine letting go of that excuse. Imagine saying, "I'm in charge of my future and I'm going to make it happen." That shift in perspective is where the magic starts. It's where you begin to think like the wealthy. Another hallmark of the millionaire mindset is a focus on value creation. The wealthy don't just chase money. They focus on solving problems and adding value to the world. Money follows value. Think about it. Every successful business, from tech giants to local coffee shops, exists because it solves a problem or meets a need. The more value you create, the more wealth you attract. So instead of asking, "How can I make more money?" start asking, "How can I create more value?" What skills do you have? What problems can you solve? What do people need that you can provide? Let's look at an example. Consider someone like Elon Musk. Love him or hate him, you can't deny his ability to think big and create value. He didn't set out to become a billionaire. He set out to solve problems, like making space travel more accessible or reducing carbon emissions with electric cars. His focus on value creation led to wealth, not the other way around. You don't have to be Elon Musk to apply this principle. Maybe you're great at organizing, teaching, or building things. Whatever your strengths, there's a way to use them to create value for others. And that's the foundation of wealth. As we wrap up this first part, I want to leave you with a challenge. Over the next day or two, pay attention to your thoughts about money, success, and opportunity. Notice when you're thinking from a place of scarcity or fear. When you catch yourself, pause and ask, how would a millionaire think about this? Would they see a roadblock or an opportunity? Would they make excuses or take action? This small practice can start to shift your mindset in powerful ways. We've only scratched the surface, but you're already on your way. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the habits and strategies that the wealthy use to turn their mindset into action. We'll talk about goal setting, discipline, and how to build a network that supports your success. For now, keep that vision of your future in mind. You're not just listening to an audiobook. You're taking the first steps toward a life of abundance. Let's keep going. If you're here, it means you're ready to take the next step in transforming the way you think and live. In the last part, we talked about the foundation of the millionaire mindset, how your beliefs about money, failure, and responsibility shape your reality. Now we're going to build on that foundation by focusing on action. Because here's the truth, a mindset alone won't make you wealthy. It's what you do with that mindset that counts. The wealthy don't just think differently, they act differently. They build habits, set goals, and surround themselves with people who push them forward. That's what we're diving into today. Let's start with habits. If you want to think like a millionaire, you need to act like one, and that starts with the small, daily choices you make. Habits are the building blocks of success. They're the things you do consistently, without even thinking, that shape your life over time. The wealthy understand this. They don't rely on motivation or willpower alone. They build systems and routines that make success inevitable. Take someone like Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people on the planet. He's famous for his disciplined habits, like reading for hours every day to stay informed and sharpen his mind. He doesn't wait for inspiration to strike. He just does the work, day in and day out. That's the kind of consistency that creates extraordinary results. So let's talk about how you can build habits that align with the millionaire mindset. First, focus on starting small. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. In fact, trying to change too much at once usually backfires. Instead, pick 1 or 2 habits that will move you closer to your goals. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier to plan your day, or setting aside 10 minutes to read about finance or business. The key is to make it so simple that you can't fail. Once that habit is locked in, you can build on it. Let me share a story to illustrate this. I know a guy named Michael who wanted to start his own business but felt overwhelmed by the idea. He was working a demanding job and didn't think he had time to chase his dreams. Instead of giving up, he decided to start small. He committed to spending just 15 minutes a day researching his business idea. That was it, 15 minutes. Over time, those 15-minute sessions added up. He learned about his market, connected with potential partners, and eventually launched a side hustle that grew into a full-time business. That small habit changed his life. What's one small habit you could start today? Maybe it's tracking your expenses to get a handle on your finances. Maybe it's writing down one idea a day for a business or project. Whatever it is, make it specific and doable. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be consistent. The wealthy know that small, consistent actions compound over time, just like interest in a bank account. Now let's talk about goal setting. The millionaire mindset is all about clarity, knowing exactly what you want and creating a plan to get there. The wealthy don't just dream about success, they define it in clear, measurable terms. They set goals that are specific, ambitious, and tied to a timeline. For example, instead of saying, "I want to be rich," they might say, "I want to earn $100,000 in revenue from my business by the end of next year." That clarity gives them focus and direction. Here's how you can apply this. Take that vision you thought about in the last part, your why. Now break it down into a specific goal. Let's say you want financial freedom. What does that mean to you? Is it paying off $50,000 in debt? Is it saving $10,000 for an emergency fund? Is it starting a business that generates $5,000 a month? Whatever it is, write it down. Make it real. Then break it into smaller milestones. If your goal is to save $10,000 in a year, that's about $833 a month, or $28 a day. Suddenly, it feels more achievable, right? The wealthy also know that goals aren't enough. You need a plan. Once you've set your goal, ask yourself, what's one step I can take today to move closer to it? Maybe it's researching investment options, signing up for a course, or reaching out to someone who's already where you want to be. The key is to take action, even if it's small. Every step forward builds momentum. Let's talk about discipline, because this is where the rubber meets the road. The millionaire mindset isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It's what makes you save 20% of your income instead of spending it on something shiny. It's what pushes you to keep learning, even when it's hard. The wealthy aren't immune to temptation or distraction. They're just better at staying focused. Here's a practical tip. Create an environment that supports your discipline. If you want to save money, set up automatic transfers to a savings account so you don't have to think about it. If you want to learn a new skill, block off time on your calendar and treat it like a non-negotiable appointment. The fewer decisions you have to make, the easier it is to stay on track. Another key to the millionaire mindset is surrounding yourself with the right people. You've probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. There's truth to that. The wealthy intentionally seek out relationships with people who challenge them, inspire them, and hold them accountable. They don't waste time with people who drag them down or reinforce limiting beliefs. Think about your own circle. Are the people around you supporting your goals, or are they skeptical? Do they encourage you to think bigger, or do they keep you stuck in old patterns? If you want to think like a millionaire, start seeking out mentors, peers, or communities that align with your vision. This could mean joining a mastermind group, attending networking events, or even connecting with like-minded people online. The point is to surround yourself with people who make you want to level up. Let's pause for a moment. I want you to think about one person in your life who inspires you, who's living the kind of life you want to live. Maybe it's a friend, a colleague, or even someone you follow online. What can you learn from them? Could you reach out and ask for advice? The wealthy aren't afraid to ask for help. They see it as a sign of strength, not weakness. As we wrap up this part, let's talk about one more principle, embracing discomfort. The wealthy know that growth happens outside your comfort zone. Whether it's starting a business, negotiating a deal, or investing in something new, success often requires doing things that feel scary or uncertain. But here's the thing, discomfort is temporary. Regret lasts a lot longer. When you look back on your life, you won't regret the risks you took. You'll regret the ones you didn't. So here's your challenge for this part. Take one action that scares you. It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's having a tough conversation about money with your partner. Maybe it's signing up for a course that feels out of your league. Whatever it is, do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's how you start to think and act like the wealthy. We've covered a lot of ground here, from building habits to setting goals to embracing discomfort. In the next part, we'll dive into how the wealthy approach money itself, how they manage it, invest it, and make it work for them. For now, keep taking those small steps. You're building the foundation for a millionaire mindset, and every choice you make is bringing you closer to the life you want. Let's keep moving forward. By now, you're starting to see what sets the wealthy apart: their beliefs, their habits, their willingness to take action. In this part, we're going to zero in on money itself, because while the millionaire mindset is about more than just dollars and cents, understanding how to manage, grow, and leverage money is a critical piece of the puzzle. The wealthy don't just earn money, they make it work for them. They see it as a tool to create freedom, impact, and opportunity. Let's dive into how you can do the same. First, let's talk about your relationship with money. For a lot of us, money feels like a source of stress. Bills pile up, unexpected expenses hit, and it's easy to feel like you're always playing catch-up. The wealthy, though, have a different perspective. They see money as a resource they control, not something that controls them. They're proactive about it, tracking their income, expenses, and investments with intention. They don't let money happen to them. They make decisions that shape their financial future. So how do you start thinking like that? It begins with awareness. Do you know exactly where your money goes each month? If I asked you right now how much you spent on groceries, subscriptions, or coffee last month, could you tell me? Most people can't, and that's a problem. The wealthy are obsessive about knowing their numbers. They track their cash flow like a business, because to them, their personal finances are a business. Here's a simple action step. Start tracking your money. For the next 30 days, write down every dollar you spend. You can use a notebook, an app, or a spreadsheet, whatever works for you. The goal isn't to judge yourself, it's to get clear on where your money's going. Once you have that clarity, you can start making intentional choices. Maybe you'll realize you're spending $200 a month on takeout, and you could redirect that to savings or an investment. That's the kind of shift that builds wealth over time. Speaking of savings, let's talk about the importance of paying yourself first. This is a cornerstone of the Millionaire Mindset. The wealthy don't wait to see what's left over at the end of the month to save or invest. They prioritize it. They treat their savings like a non-negotiable bill. A good rule of thumb is to aim for saving at least 10 to 20% of your income. But even if you can only start with 5%, that's better than nothing. The key is to make it automatic. Set up a direct deposit to a savings account or investment fund so you don't have to think about it. Now, saving is important, but the wealthy know that saving alone won't make you rich. To build real wealth, you have to invest. Investing is how you make your money work for you instead of you working for it. The wealthy are always looking for ways to grow their money, whether it's through real estate, the stock market, a business, or other assets. They understand the power of compound interest and the importance of starting early. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people, Alex and Jamie. Alex starts investing $200 a month at age 25, earning an average return of 7% per year. By the time Alex is 65, that investment grows to over $500,000. Jamie, on the other hand, waits until age 35 to start investing the same amount. Even with the same return, Jamie ends up with less than half of Alex's total, around $240,000. That's the power of starting early and letting time work its magic. The lesson? Don't wait for the perfect moment to start investing. Start now, even if it's small. If investing feels intimidating, that's okay. The wealthy weren't born knowing how to invest. They learned. Start by educating yourself. Read books, listen to podcasts, or take a course on personal finance. You don't need to be an expert overnight, but you do need to take responsibility for your financial education. One simple way to start is with low-cost, diversified investments like index funds. They're a beginner-friendly way to dip your toes into the market without taking on too much risk. Let's talk about another key principle: multiple streams of income. The wealthy rarely rely on a single paycheck. They build multiple sources of income, whether it's a side hustle, rental properties, dividends, or a business. This not only increases their earning potential, but also protects them from financial setbacks. If one income stream dries up, they have others to fall back on. Think about your own situation. What's one way you could create an additional income stream? Maybe you have a skill, like writing or graphic design, that you could freelance on the side. Maybe you could rent out a spare room or invest in a small business. The goal isn't to overwhelm yourself, it's to start thinking like an entrepreneur. The wealthy are always looking for ways to diversify their income and create new opportunities. Another thing the wealthy do differently is they take calculated risks. Notice I said calculated. They don't gamble their life savings on a whim, but they're not afraid to step into uncertainty if the potential reward is worth it. Whether it's starting a business, investing in a new market, or negotiating a higher salary, they weigh the risks and rewards and make informed decisions. Most people, though, avoid risk altogether. They stay in jobs they hate, or pass up opportunities because they're scared of what might happen. The wealthy know that playing it safe often means staying stuck. Here's a question for you. What's one risk you've been avoiding? Maybe it's asking for a raise, launching a project, or investing in yourself. What's the worst that could happen if you took that step? And what's the best that could happen? Sometimes just imagining the possibilities is enough to push you forward. Let's talk about debt for a moment, because it's a topic that trips up a lot of people. The wealthy aren't afraid of debt, but they use it strategically. They avoid bad debt, like high-interest credit card balances or loans for depreciating assets like cars. Instead, they use good debt, like a mortgage for a rental property or a loan to grow a business, to create wealth. The key is to understand the difference. If you're carrying high-interest debt, make a plan to pay it off as quickly as possible. If you're considering taking on debt, ask yourself, will this help me build wealth, or will it hold me back? As we wrap up this part, I want to emphasize one final point. The wealthy think long-term. They're not chasing quick wins or instant gratification. They make decisions today that set them up for success years down the road. That might mean living below their means, investing consistently, or saying no to short-term pleasures for long-term gains. It's not always glamorous, but it's effective. Here's your challenge. Take one step toward mastering your money. Maybe it's opening an investment account, creating a budget, or exploring a side hustle. Whatever it is, do it with intention. You're not just managing money, you're building wealth. In the next part, we'll explore how the wealthy stay resilient, adapt to challenges, and keep growing no matter what life throws at them. Keep pushing forward. You're closer than you think. You've already learned so much about how the wealthy think, about their beliefs, their habits, and their approach to money. But there's one quality that ties it all together: resilience. The wealthy don't just succeed because they're smart or talented. They succeed because they keep going, no matter what. Life throws challenges at everyone, but the Millionaire Mindset is about bouncing back, adapting, and growing stronger with every setback. In this part, we're going to explore how to build that resilience and commit to lifelong growth. Let's start with the truth. Success isn't a straight line. If you look at the journey of any wealthy person, you'll see a path full of twists, turns, and obstacles. They've faced rejection, financial loss, and moments of self-doubt, just like you. What sets them apart is their ability to keep moving forward. They don't let setbacks define them. They use them as fuel to grow. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. Today, she's a billionaire and a global icon. But her journey wasn't easy. She grew up in poverty, faced abuse, and was told she wasn't fit for television early in her career. Most people would have given up, but Oprah didn't. She leaned into her resilience, kept honing her skills, and turned every challenge into an opportunity. That's the Millionaire Mindset, seeing every obstacle as a chance to learn and grow. So, how do you build that kind of resilience? It starts with reframing how you see challenges. Instead of viewing a problem as a roadblock, see it as a puzzle to solve. When something goes wrong, whether it's a failed project, a financial hit, or a personal setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I come back stronger? This simple shift in perspective can change everything. Let me share a story. I once knew a guy named David who started a tech company in his 20s. He poured everything into it, his savings, his time, his energy. But 2 years in, the company went under. He was devastated, But instead of giving up, he took a hard look at what went wrong. He realized he'd been so focused on his product that he'd ignored his customers' needs. That lesson became the foundation for his next venture, which he sold for millions a few years later. David's resilience didn't just save him, it made him wealthier and wiser. What's a challenge you're facing right now? Maybe it's a financial struggle, a career setback, or a personal goal that feels out of reach. Take a moment to think about it. Now, instead of focusing on what's wrong, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do to move forward? Maybe it's reaching out for help, doing more research, or simply refusing to give up. That's where resilience starts. Another key to resilience is self-care. The wealthy know that their greatest asset is themselves, their health, their energy, their clarity of mind. You can't build wealth if you're burned out or running on empty. That's why so many successful people prioritize exercise, sleep, and mental well-being. They see these things as investments, not luxuries. If you want to think like a millionaire, start treating your health like a business asset. Even small changes, like drinking more water, taking a 10-minute walk, or meditating for 5 minutes a day, can make a big difference. Let's talk about lifelong learning, because this is another hallmark of the millionaire mindset. The wealthy are obsessed with growth. They're always reading, asking questions, and seeking out new knowledge. They don't assume they know it all. In fact, they're humble enough to admit what they don't know. That curiosity keeps them adaptable and ready for whatever comes next. Think about someone like Bill Gates. Even as one of the world's richest people, he's known for his voracious reading habits. He's constantly learning about science, technology, and global issues. That commitment to growth keeps him ahead of the curve. You don't have to read 50 books a year like Gates, but you can commit to learning something new every day. Maybe it's listening to a podcast, taking an online course, or talking to someone who's further along than you. The point is to stay curious and keep growing. Here's a practical tip. Create a learning plan. Pick one area you want to improve. Maybe it's investing, marketing, or leadership. Then set a goal to learn something about it every week. It could be as simple as reading one article or watching a 10-minute video. Over time, those small efforts add up, and you'll find yourself thinking and acting with more confidence and clarity. Another aspect of the millionaire mindset is adaptability. The world is always changing. New technologies, new markets, new challenges. The wealthy don't resist change. They embrace it. They're willing to pivot, try new approaches, and let go of what's not working. This doesn't mean they're reckless. It means they're flexible. They know that sticking to a failing strategy out of stubbornness is a recipe for disaster. Let's look at an example. Remember Blockbuster? They had a chance to buy Netflix early on but passed because they couldn't see the future of streaming. Meanwhile, Netflix adapted, embraced new technology, and became a global powerhouse. The lesson? Don't get so attached to the way things are that you miss opportunities to grow. What's one area of your life where you're resisting change? Maybe it's sticking to a job that's not serving you or avoiding a new skill because it feels overwhelming. Challenge yourself to embrace one small change this week. Maybe it's trying a new tool, exploring a different career path, or stepping into a new opportunity. That flexibility is what keeps you growing. As we wrap up this part, let's talk about gratitude. This might sound surprising, but the wealthy often have a deep sense of gratitude. They don't take their success for granted. They appreciate it, and that fuels their drive to keep going. Gratitude keeps you grounded. It reminds you of how far you've come, even when the road ahead feels long. Try this. At the end of each day, write down one thing you're grateful for. It could be a supportive friend, a small win, or even the fact that you're here, learning how to think like a millionaire. Your challenge for this part is to practice resilience. The next time you face a setback, pause and ask, how can I grow from this? Then take one small action to move forward. You're not just building wealth, You're building a stronger, more adaptable version of yourself. In the next part, we'll tie it all together, exploring how to live with purpose and create a legacy that goes beyond money. Keep going. You're doing amazing. You've come a long way. We've talked about rewiring your beliefs, building habits, mastering money, and staying resilient. Now, let's bring it all together by focusing on something bigger. Purpose. The wealthy don't just chase money, they chase impact. They build lives that matter, not just for themselves, but for the people and causes they care about. In this part, we're going to explore how to align your wealth with your purpose and create a legacy that lasts. Let's start with a question. Why do you want to be wealthy? Take a moment to think about it. For some, it's about freedom. Freedom to travel, to spend time with family, to pursue passions. For others, it's about security or the ability to give back. Whatever your reason, the Millionaire Mindset is about connecting your financial goals to a deeper sense of purpose. Money is a means, not an end. The wealthy understand this, and it's what drives them to keep pushing forward. One way to find your purpose is to ask, what impact do I want to have? Maybe you want to start a business that solves a problem in your community. Maybe you want to support a cause you care about, like education or healthcare. Maybe you just want to give your kids a better life than you had. Whatever it is, let that purpose guide your decisions. It's like a compass. It keeps you on track when things get tough. Let me share an example. There's a woman named Lisa who started a small bakery out of her home. At first, her goal was simple: make enough money to quit her day job. But as her business grew, she realized her real passion was creating jobs for people in her neighborhood, especially for single parents who struggled to find work. Today, her bakery employs dozens of people, and she's created a scholarship fund for local kids. Her wealth isn't just about her bank account, it's about the lives she's changed. That's what purpose looks like. What's your purpose? If you're not sure, that's okay. Start by thinking about what lights you up. What problems do you want to solve? What legacy do you want to leave? Write down your thoughts and revisit them often. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be meaningful to you. Another key to the Millionaire Mindset is giving back. The wealthy often see their wealth as a responsibility to make the world better. Whether it's donating to charity, mentoring others, or investing in their community, they find ways to share their success. Giving doesn't just feel good, it creates a ripple effect. It builds connections, opens doors, and reminds you that wealth is about more than just you. Here's a practical way to start. Commit to giving in a small way. Maybe it's donating $10 to a cause you care about, volunteering an hour of your time, or sharing your knowledge with someone who's just starting out. You don't have to be a millionaire to give back. Small acts of generosity can start now and grow as your wealth grows. Let's talk about legacy. The wealthy think beyond their lifetime. They ask themselves, what will I leave behind? This could be a business, a charitable foundation, or simply values you pass on to your family. Building a legacy means making choices today that will matter tomorrow. It's about creating something that outlives you. Think about someone like Andrew Carnegie, the industrialist who built one of the largest fortunes in history. Later in life, he gave away nearly all of it, funding libraries, schools, and universities. His wealth didn't just benefit him, it shaped the world for generations. You don't have to be Carnegie to leave a legacy. Maybe your legacy is teaching your kids about financial literacy, starting a community project, or building a business that employs others. What matters is that it reflects your values. Here's a question. What do you want to be remembered for? Take a moment to think about it. If you're not sure, try this exercise. Imagine you're 80 years old, looking back on your life. What would make you proud? What would make you feel like you lived a life of impact? Let that vision guide your actions today. As we wrap up this audiobook, I want to remind you of something. The Millionaire Mindset isn't about becoming someone else. It's about unlocking the potential that's already inside you. You don't need permission, a fancy degree, or a lucky break. You just need to start thinking and acting like the wealthy. That means believing in abundance, taking responsibility for your outcomes, building habits that support your goals, managing your money with intention, staying resilient, and living with purpose. Let's end with a final challenge. Over the next week, take one bold step toward your millionaire mindset. Maybe it's setting a new financial goal, starting a small habit, or reaching out to someone who inspires you. Whatever it is, do it with the confidence that you're capable of creating the life you want. You're not just dreaming, you're building. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope this audiobook has given you the tools, inspiration, and clarity to think like the wealthy. Now go out there and make it happen. The world is waiting for you. Subscribe now.